Stay roll, we're the heat to the cold. Let it fly, supremacy, never kill. 947, got the scope of my mind. And the killing sounds so hush, no get no time. Unleash your fire, watch it burn the sky. Get shot, no look, that's a voice of past life. Red stick roll, cut like raw steel. Red dot in a dot, make it real. Blow in a dot, deal with skill. Oh my god, I'm shook now, feel the chill. Hit him from resistance, never miss my goal. Like a sniper with a vision that's control of the soul. Represent the energy, turn inside of action. All eyes on me as I take my satisfaction. Racing from the hits and unstoppable force. With every shot flying, dying home with no remorse. Racing road, cut like raw steel. Red dot in a dot, make it real. Blowing up down, hit him with skill. Oh my god, I'm shook now, feel the chill. See the starlight fade. Wetumpka Falls as we go away. With the light of night keeps truth inside. Strike a position to the end of the fight. Red day road, color roasted. Red dot in a dot, making it real. Low in the mouth, hit 'em with skill. Oh my god, I'm shook, let 'em have a chill.
What is happening, all 122,000 of you peaceful warriors out there? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the gun that killed the 2011. That is the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Metal Carry Comp. Let's get into it. But as always, before we get into the specs, the details, how it's shot, we're going to talk about the nitty gritty. Before we talk about all that, we have to talk about the full disclosures. So what is my relationship to Smith & Wesson? There is no relationship there whatsoever. They don't know I exist. However, Brownells, the biggest sponsor of the channel, did send this pistol out for me to review. So big shout out to Brownells, always stepping up in the clutch to support the channel and provide me with new products to review for you guys, so you guys can determine whether or not this is worth your sweet hard-earned cash. And spoiler alert, it is. I'm sorry to cost you guys money right now, but if you guys are going to pick one of these up, please use my links in the description. My codes, all that stuff is down below. We cannot talk about. In order to stay in the good graces of the algorithmic overlords, we cannot talk about that. So go ahead and check it out. So outside of Brownells, there's some other ways you guys can support the channel. The free and the easiest way is just liking, commenting, subscribing. Even if you're just talking crap in the comments, guys, every single comment helps. So big shout out to everyone who engages with the video. Also sharing these videos if you think they're valuable. We also have merch over at rangedaybro.com. If you guys support on the ATF, then go ahead and pick up a ATF t-shirts. They're all over there on the website. It is live at rangedaybro.com. And then finally, lastly, we did start up the Patreon since we are doing YouTube full time. If you guys want to be one of the first people in at the ground level of the Patreon account, I would greatly appreciate it. It'll get you early access to all of our content. It'll get you shout outs in the videos as well as product review requests. So if you have something specifically you want me to review, I'm going to take in heavy consideration everyone who's on the Patreon over there. So all that information can be found in the description below. So thank you to everyone who supports the channel. All right, guys, so let's finally talk about what you're here to talk about, which is the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Carry Comp. This thing absolutely blew me away. And I'm going to make a bold statement here. I don't see why you would buy a 2011 when striker fire pistols like this exist.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, we're going to elaborate on that further on in the video towards the end when I give you my final conclusions, but we're going to be talking about and hinting at that the whole way through when we're talking about a lot of the improvements that this gun has made to the striker fire pistol game. So starting off, we put 527 rounds to this pistol. I've had it for about 2 months and I've carried it almost every single day. And first and foremost, as you guys know, if something is not reliable, then it automatically gets the axe and does not even get my consideration for being used as a serious tool. This thing performed flawlessly as I expected through all 527 rounds. Of that, about 50 rounds were using defensive ammo, about 25 rounds of Federal HST 124 grain, which is my current everyday carry ammunition, and also 25 rounds of Federal Hydroshock 124 grain as well. And this thing ate up everything flawlessly. So I have zero complaints on the reliability. Besides, if you want to call it a malfunction, I'll leave it up to you. I did have 2 times where the slide did not lock back. I see it as a non-issue. I'm 99% sure it was my grip that did it, because no other time that I experienced that malfunction with these magazines. Now, moving on from there, we're going to talk about the design and the idea behind this pistol. Now, my first pistol ever was a Smith & Wesson M&P. It was the 1.0 and it was in 40 cal, so mistakes were made.
And he's right, mistakes were made.
And ever since that purchase, I haven't really messed with Smith & Wesson too much because I've just been interested in other lines. However, this one changed the game in my opinion. So what improvements have been made over the previous iterations of other striker fire pistols? Not only just the previous iterations of the M&P line, but also the previous iterations of other striker fire guns. So let's start off with the name, Metal Carry Comp. This is indeed a metal aluminum frame. And as you guys can tell, it's a very nice high undercut under here for your hands. You get a very high grip angle on the gun. Still allows you to have interchangeable back straps, which is very nice. I do have the one that came with it. Although I have really big hands, I do like a grip that is not too large in all the right places. This one feels great in the hand. And that metal frame gives it a very premium feeling too. It just feels great. It feels high quality. Feels like the tolerances are very tight, especially for a striker fired gun. Now, aside from that, it is not one of these metal frames where you can drop a fire control unit in. It is still, the frame is the serialized item. So just for those of you who are wondering, there's not a capability to change out the grip modules on this pistol. But again, I think the quality and the fit and finish on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. It feels great in hand, and it does translate to a better feeling shooting gun because it does balance out that weight a little bit better, in my opinion, than a polymer gun. And we'll skip over the second part of the name, the carry. I don't really know why they call it a carry because this is definitely closer to a full-size handgun. It's right a little bit shorter than a Glock 17, and it's a little bit longer than a Glock 19. So, and it's a full-size grip. So I don't really know why carry was in the name, but you could definitely carry it. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'1", 260 pounds, and I carry it and conceal it pretty well in my Tier 1 concealed holster, which we'll talk about later. But now let's get into the comp, which is the coolest part about this pistol.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
So as you guys know, I've been a huge fan of companies porting guns or comping guns from the factory. The reason being, if it doesn't affect reliability and you're not gonna put a suppressor or threaded barrel in it, I see no reason to not have a comp or port on your gun. It helps you shoot flatter, it acts like a cheat code. Now it's not gonna replace the fundamentals and make you a better shooter, but it will definitely help you get quicker follow-up shots at whatever level you're at currently. And so speaking to that reliability, obviously we had 0 malfunctions throughout that 527 rounds, so the comp did not affect the reliability. So how did it actually perform with reducing the recoil? And as you guys can see from the footage, this thing is like a race car. Going back to the original point of the video, you can shoot this thing as fast as a 2011, in my humble opinion, because of the combination of improvements they've made, the compensator, the trigger, which we haven't talked about quite yet, and the metal frame. It pretty much feels about as fast shooting as any 2011 I've ever handled. Now, of course, is the trigger gonna be as good or as clean of a break as a 2011? Maybe not, but let's just talk about the trigger real quick. I know we brushed over the comp, but this in combination with the trigger is really where the secret sauce lies. So real quick, I just wanna ghost this trigger with you guys so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So first of all, the trigger looks phenomenal, looks great. It has a lot of take up, but it's very smooth through all the take up. You hit the wall right there, little bit of creep, and then a clean break, and it has that little block there at the back that prevents it from having any over travel. So let's look at the reset. And one thing I want you to note about the reset is it's completely silent. So you won't be able to hear it, but you feel it right there. It kind of nudges forward. It's a very soft reset, a little bit of scush, and then a clean break and a clean wall. So about as good as you're gonna get on a striker fire gun. This is the best striker fire pistol I've ever handled, and it translates into being able to shoot very fast. Now, one thing I wasn't sure about whether I would like it or not is that reset being almost inaudible and you can barely feel it. It's not like a very positive reset like a lot of the Glocks or a lot of the other striker fire guns. You kind of look for that positive reset where it almost pushes your finger forward. This thing kind of makes you forget about it, which I think is a very good trait to have when you want to shoot fast.
I want to go fast.
Because if you're out there on the range and you're shooting to the wall and then you're letting it go out, you're letting it reset to the wall and just doing this whole like manipulating the trigger right on the wall, you're gonna shoot slower. And Ben Sager talks about this in his videos. Trigger control and the trigger press is really the last thing he talks about. It's mostly about grip and vision. Once you get to a very high level of shooting, which I am not at, but from hearing from these guys, Rob Epifania, Ben Stager, all these guys talk about, they really don't think about it. It just stays consistent every time. And this trigger allows you to do that. It allows you to forget about the trigger press and just focus on the things that matter, like your vision and your grip. So while the trigger is very good, it kind of is good because it stays out of your mind and it doesn't become an issue or a hindrance to you shooting fast. So as far as my overall opinion of this thing, I think the metal frame combined with the trigger being so good as well as the comp makes this thing an absolute race gun, but giving you striker fire and everyday carry reliability, duty reliability, that you know when you pull the trigger, this thing's gonna work, right? Now, I don't have 10,000 rounds through this pistol, so testing will continue, but initially, I am absolutely blown away. I am in love with this thing, and it is gonna go to very easily the front of my line for the EDC of what I'm gonna be carrying every single day. So before I start talking about the cons of this pistol, I just wanna wrap up the summary on why I said I believe this would kill the 2011 market. And the main reason is it shoots like a 2011 with striker fire reliability and at half the price or more. This thing comes in at below $1,000. You can pick it up over at brownells.com right now using my code but below that number, it just absolutely performs. It feels great, it looks great, it shoots great. I have nothing bad to say about this besides a few minor complaints, and let's talk about those now. So as far as my complaints go about this, it's really a non-issue because I've had no issues, but the number one thing I could say that I don't like about this pistol is that the optics mounting plate is actually plastic. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a, I don't know, a filler piece or something when I pulled it out of the box, but the plate itself is actually polymer. And again, I say it's a non-issue because I've had no issues with it coming loose or breaking or anything of that matter. So it's really a non-issue, but I just don't like that it's plastic. I don't know why they went with plastic, maybe because it's so thin. But I feel like for the price, again, it's not a cheap handgun, so I feel like for the price, they should have included like, you know, at least steel, if not titanium or something that's stronger if they wanted to make it thinner. That's just my 2 cents. And the other complaint, and I even feel like a hypocrite saying this, is that the stippling is a little bit rough when you're carrying it appendix. It does tend to just really kind of rub you raw if you're not wearing an undershirt that's in between you and the handgun. I just wish companies, and I think it'd make more sense, like 99% of shooters are right-handed. Why not make the left-hand side of the stippling just slightly less aggressive for when you're carrying appendix? I may even sand it down or do something myself to make it less aggressive so that I don't have that constant irritation when I'm carrying this gun every day. So outside of those 2 qualms that I have, I absolutely adore this pistol. I really cannot say enough good things about it. The more I shoot it, the more I love it, the more I can predict its recoil and really kind of time those shots and shoot really quickly. Now, obviously, I'm showing you guys all my hits and all my misses. I'm not editing anything out. That's one thing about me is I want to show you every single round that I put through this pistol so you can make your own determination. I'm not saying, hey, we put 20,000 rounds to this when I really didn't. I want to show you every shot taken, and so if there is a malfunction, I could show you it on camera. Now, with that being said, I did forget to record the first time that we took this thing out, and by forget, I mean I just didn't want to record that day. I was with some buddies. I was getting my first impressions on this thing, and we shot about 85 rounds of the 527 that day. And there's also one round that I forgot to hit the record button on the camera, and I fired it off, and then I forgot to hit record, and so that one is also missing. Again, you'll just have to trust me and believe in my opinion. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. Again, I have no affiliation with Smith & Wesson. I could say whatever I want about this pistol. Brownells does not tell me what I can and can't say. All of this is coming from my own joy and excitement to share this with you guys, because so often I get something that is an actual letdown, that when I get something that actually goes above and beyond my expectations for it, it is a very exciting time. I'm a little jaded to this because I do this for a living now. So again, it takes a lot for me to get excited about something, and this thing really got me going.
Gets the people going.
So now that we talked about how it shot, the recoil impulse, some of the major design changes and features this thing has, let's talk about the little nuanced parts that I think really take it above and beyond. So besides the obvious part of the slide, which is the compensated part, the rest of the slide is absolutely a piece of artwork. It has really, really beautiful cuts and windows all over the place. Not only do the serrations look cool, but they actually are very functional. Back here in the back, it's got that little 2 wings in the back, similar to the Springfield Echelon, so that if you have a weaker gripped individual, they can still get a spot where they can grab a good grip on it. That is very cool, and the whole thing looks phenomenal. The frame being aluminum, actually, again, all the machining, all the finishes on this thing are absolutely flawless. I see no blemishes, no areas, no rough spots. It's all smooth. The anodizing looks phenomenal. It's just everything about it looks phenomenal. Another thing that I can really appreciate are the slide stops and slide releases. They are similar to the Glock style where they just bend over, but instead of just bending straight over, they kind of bump out and then bend over, giving you more a ledge, similar again to all the things that I liked about the Springfield Echelon, and giving you a much more solid point to hit after you do that magazine change and insertion. So the main point is the fit and finish of this thing, the quality of this thing punches way above its price point. That is kind of what I'm trying to communicate to y'all. This thing not only looks, but feels impressive in the hand. So what comes in the box? It obviously comes with the pistol itself. It comes with 2 17-round magazines. It comes with all of your optic plates. Probably comes with some other crap that no one's ever going to use, like a lock. I don't remember, but that's the most important part. It comes with just 2 mags, 17 rounds apiece, and the optic mounting plates for all the industry standard optics. So getting into the nitty gritty, what are the specs on this pistol right here? Obviously, it's chambered in 9mm. It's the only pistol caliber I'd recommend in 2025. The barrel is 4.22 inches long and it has an Armonite finish on it. The frame is machined from a 7075 T6 aluminum, which is a very high strength aluminum. Same aluminum used to make lower receivers for the AR-15 platform. The slide is stainless steel ported and has a Performance Center gray Armonite finish. The trigger is listed as a flat face trigger, although it has a curved appearance to it. It does feel like a flat face trigger when you're shooting it. It is obviously optics ready, as you can see with the Holosun 507C on here. Ships with 2 magazines of a capacity of 17 plus 1 in the chamber. Overall length is 7.25 inches. It weighs 28.1 ounces empty. The front sight is a green night sight and the back is a blacked out rear serrated. Because I know someone's gonna ask, this is the holster that I was carrying it in and drawing from. This is the Tier 1 concealed MSP. I have no affiliation with Tier 1, but I've used their products and probably spent $1,000 on their holsters over the years. It works, it's pretty expensive for the price, but I like that you can just use any gun that carries the light that the holster is cut for. So this one is cut for a Streamlight TLR 1HL. That's why I like this holster, because that's just one holster that can fit pretty much any gun from a Glock 19 up to a FNX 45 Tactical. Final thoughts, should you guys consider picking one of these up for your EDC? Absolutely, I can highly recommend this pistol. I'm telling you right now, this is gonna take the crown, and this is gonna be my everyday carry moving forward for the foreseeable future until something else comes out that can dethrone this. I'm super impressed with the way it feels, the way it shoots, everything about it just inspires confidence, and I'm just in love with it, I gotta say. That's gonna wrap up the video for today, guys. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Even if you're just talking in the comments, every single one helps. And make sure you check your subscriptions, because sometimes you'll be magically unsubscribed and you didn't even realize it. If you guys wanna pick up merch, rangedaybro.com, all the links are in the description below, as well to the Patreon, all that good stuff. Big shout out to every single one of you for staying to the end of the video. I really appreciate y'all, and until next time, stay safe, stay dangerous. Range Day Bro, out.